Today we have with us on the show the dynamic duo from Alok Masterbadge, Managing Director Vikram Baduria and Director Amit Puri, been spearheading the company for the last 2 decades. Alok Masterbadge is a leading masterbadge provider, co-creating innovative, reliable, and responsible applications for the plastic industry with innovation sustainability powered by core technology and R&D. With an amalgamation of research and world-class manufacturing processes, Alok focuses on standard and specialty solutions. A very warm welcome to the both of you to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you, Nidhi. Great being here finally.
Finally, yes. National Awards for Innovation from the Prime Minister himself. Golden Peacock Awards for 2 years in a row. विक्रम, अमित, आपको पता था कि आपको इनसाइट्स विद निधि वर्मा में आने का मौका मिलेगा?
नहीं.
Okay.
Because we've always seen the luminaries of the industry on this show, and just for knowledge of everyone, Nidhi and us, we share a very friendly relationship. We are more of contemporaries and friends rather than, I never thought that I'd be on this program.
I think the actions speak for themselves, and all our audiences will be so pleasantly surprised when they come to know what your organization is doing. Vikram, would you like to share with our viewers that what was the main strategic success factor behind reaching such heights and acclaims? What did you do super right?
Well, since the beginning, we have never compromised on the product quality. Our fathers have always taught us that respect your product, sell less, but sell the best. So that's what we have been, and that's what's worked for us. We are not the largest, but we are the best. And, when you see the R&D facilities that we have, the cost that goes into this R&D facility, maybe a lot of people, their entire plants cost less than our R&D facility. And we've kept on upgrading our technology, kept on investing in new technology, whether it's in machinery, whether it's in processes, systems, and that's given us very, very rich rewards.
Perfect. Vikram, I understand that you trained in Clariant R&D in US after you got your degree from UMass Lowell. What is your father's idea, or was it yours?
Well, large part, this entire career journey was scripted by my father very, very long ago. So when I was in 10th standard, I was told that you will make Masterbadge one day. And so since 10th standard, I've known that I'll be making Masterbadge. So I did my engineering from University of Mysore in plastics engineering and polymer science and technology. I went to US, did my plastics engineering, the master's there. And then I specifically wanted only to work in a Masterbadge company. And there was a point where, my father also said, don't come back to India, stay there. You have a good career, you have a good life. And I also started enjoying the life in the US. But I could foresee at that time, this is late 90s, early 2000s, the manufacturing was leaving US in droves towards China. And that's what, that's when I decided that Asia is the next center of growth. It won't be US. Unless you're in the high technology IT industry, US was not a place for a young engineer to start out. So that's what brought me back to India.
Vikram, your motto says to make plastics safer, sustainable, and affordable. How is it different from the other Masterbadge producers' offerings?
Well, how this motto came about was initial years when Amit and myself, we joined the business. My father always insisted that you have to go to the market, you have to go sit down with the final processor, final user, and learn what the market is all about. And I was in central India in one of the cities, and we went to oil packaging unit where this gentleman was packaging oil in a yellow container, and the color from the container was leaking into the oil. And I said, "Ye to aap galat kar rahe hain, ye to poisonous hai." And he said, "Nahi, yahan to aise hi chalta hai. Humko bataya nahi hai kisi ne." So that's when I decided that one of the first things I need to bring in to the business is the regulatory compliances, knowledge of safety, product safety. And then we worked very, very hard on product safety. And that's how the motto came: safer, affordable, because, there's no point just transposing Western expensive technologies into India, because India does not have, the society does not have the PPP to afford these technologies. So indigenize the technology, give it at an affordable price point, and sustainable. You know, people say that Indian polymer consumption still can go up by another 20 kgs. But for each kg that it goes up, you need a new petrochemical plant coming in, size of Reliance. So imagine if the entire country starts consuming resources at the present level. So that your product has to be sustainable.
Yes, I think that's a well thought of strategy. Quickly, a question came between. How did the name Alok Master Batch come? It is none of the sons. Where does it come
Yes.
from?
I'll have Amit answer the question. It's a very interesting story, and both of us have been called Mr. Alok and have been asked this question multiple times. But let Amit
I
answer
was
that.
preparing for this interview and I could not find a link, so the question comes. Amit.
Nidhi, thank you for this opportunity and really appreciate what you are doing here as well. And in a time of social distancing, this is our digital socializing with the plastics community, which is very important. The name Alok came in through, we started this, our parents started this company in 1993, where, as you know, it wasn't that liberalized in policy till then. And it took a lot of time for you to establish a new company, get the infrastructure, all the licenses going. So we already had a friend's company by the name of Alok, which is actually based on one of my cousin brother's name. And they were manufacturing cables over there. So we wanted to start quickly and immediately. We had the customers, we had the knowledge base, we had everything in place. So the quickest way was to get an already existing company and from cables converted into master batch. So that's how it started off. And it's again, a lot of people ask us, call us Alok Puri and Alok Bhadoria and all.
Understood. Amit, you process more than 1 lakh metric tons per annum. Value-wise, how much of your production is sold domestically and how much is exported? Because I think you travel like crazy. You're all across the continents all the time.
So till very much till 2006 or 2007, we were 100% Indian focused company, and we did not have much presence outside India, barring few customers who had set up a factory outside India, and they would continue to buy from us. So the real push came in 2005, 2006, 2007, when we started focusing on exports. And our vision had never always, like Vikram very rightly said, not the biggest, but the best. So not to target big volumes for export, but get good business. And I'm very proud to say that even in exports, we have customers who've been buying for more than 10, 12 years from us on a regular basis. We have been focusing on export. It has been growing double digit over the years, but so has the domestic, and we have a very good team which pushes good numbers in domestic sale as well. So I would say roughly it's around 75 to 80% is our domestic sale, and 20 to 25% is our export sales right now.
Exactly.
Amit, master batches are still imported. What is the reason for that, despite the fact that the many master batches producers in India are doing so well and they have the state-of-the-art machinery? Then why do people import?
So master batch in India is, I would put it in two categories. One is an inverted duty structure that we have, where we have a FTA agreement with few countries from where the master batch is coming in, and those are the commodity products where it's hard for well, we are paying import duty on our raw material. They are not, and they are exporting to India. That is one part. The other is the specific master batches, which are specified by global players, and that master batches are imported into India. So where there is, the processor has no choice to substitute between Indian and international player. Having said that, India exports 8 to 10 times more master batches than it is imports. So I would say it is not really a very big part of the overall market. It's very insignificant, and it's always going to be there. It's there in every country.
Understood. Vikram, you require a variety of raw materials for master batches. Are you able to source your entire virgin material from indigenous plastic raw material producers, or you have to import?
We do have to import, because, you know, master batch, if you see the SKU list of the raw materials, it goes into 7-8 pages.
Yeah.
And this is one industry where something that goes even as 0.5%, if you don't have it, it stops your machine.
Okay.
So we have a very well spread out geography abroad from where we source materials, whether it's US, Europe, in Asia, some from China also. Overall, 80% of the material that we use, we are able to source locally. We have been able to develop vendors locally. 20% is still being imported for various reasons, economies of scale, technology.
Okay. Maybe with Atmanirbharta coming in, the raw material producers are also able to give you those 20% of the.
I really hope so. In fact, I'm part of Plex Council also, and we are pushing a few products which the country has the capacity to make it. The government has to give them a boost so they can expand that capacity, and we'll be self-reliant ourselves for these products.
That is a good path forward. Vikram, you have a state-of-the-art incubation center. I know it is very, very close to your heart. Please highlight about your innovations and successful import substitutions for the Indian master badge users that you've been able to line up.
So let me start with how this concept came into my mind, that in master badge, we were all working very insularly. The customer didn't want to disclose anything to us, what he was doing. We did not want to disclose anything to the supplier. The supplier didn't want to disclose anything. So we said, let's make a platform where the customer comes, the supplier comes. We'll partner up with some universities, plastics universities, and let them also come. And let's make something new for the country. Something, it should fit those three bills: safer, sustainable, and affordable. And the first project that we picked up was for mulch films. Mulch films that time were being imported. Whatever was being made in India, people didn't know what to make. Plastic ki panni bana rahe hain. So there was a lot of failure, and people the farmers, the end users had a very negative connotation against plastic films. Ye chalti nahi hai. And agar chahiye to aapko import karni padegi. So that was one of the first projects that we took, and we helped the Indian industry develop an indigenous film with consultants from Europe, with the raw material that was not available in India. And that's where the Prime Minister awarded us with the second national award.
And we made a product which was, if not, it was better than comparable than the international film which was available in the market. So we had field tests done where our product proved to last longer than the international competitive product.
Yeah, and that really opened up the entire market in India, because till then mulch was a luxury product for the farmers. And after that, there was a very huge proliferation. The farmer got a very affordable price point where he could buy this film, dispose it. Earlier, he used to buy this film, reuse it again and again and again. So now you could buy it, then dispose it. Now we are working on the technology to make a biodegradable mulch film. So, your disposal issues are sorted out.
Great. I have heard a presentation in my Flexible Packaging Summit on the mulch films, because that is something which is really used in huge volumes by our agri sector.
Right.
And what was the second award for?
So actually the first award, mulch film was the second national award. The first award was when the Prime Minister came out with the scheme of Ujjwal Bharat, which was not Ujjwal Bharat, for LED lights. So to indigenize those lights also, everything was coming from China. And we helped develop this technology with a very prominent university in India, Plastics Education University, to make light diffusing agents and thermally conductive plastics. So that was the first award. The second was for mulch films. Then we got 2 Golden Peacock Awards also. One was again for mulch films, and recently, just last week, we were awarded again for antibacterial products.
Amit, the sale of master badge in India can be taken as a very good indicator of the plastic consumption. How have been the sales affected in Q1 because of the COVID? And how do you see, what is the outlook going forward?
So of course, Q1 has been slower than last year, thanks to the lockdown, which was necessary. I would say that our industry, because we are supplying to the necessity products, there is no downside towards that in this kind of an environment. Luxury products have gone for a toss. The luxurious experiences people are not going for. So unfortunately, people involved in that industry are badly affected, and so feel sorry for them. But plastics is a necessary product. It's a basic product. The demand is not going anywhere. It got temporarily stopped because of the lockdown, but we see a V-shaped recovery in this industry. And I'm happy that our team is good enough and has taken up the challenge. And we've already up to 80-85% of our pre-COVID sales. And probably by this month, we should be back to where we were pre-COVID. Having said that, yes, there are still a lot of struggles in the industry because of labor shortages and related things, but plastics industry is very resilient, and it's no looking back for it.
Like the product itself. Amit, could you throw some light on which are the specific verticals which usually saw demand rise, and which of the ones that saw a decline from the customers that you sell to?
So I would say that our customers who are in export have got very good demands right now. So they were only shut for a small period of time, and they came back with a bang. Other customers who are in food packaging and basic packaging products have come back to a normal level. Automotive still is struggling, but thanks to the overall economic environment not being good, and it's going to take a while. But I don't see that being lagging behind for a long period of time. Once people are more stable about their jobs and business comes back to usual, people and this I heard in one of the interviews in your forum itself by Mr. Sehgal, is that automobile is a aspirational purchase. It's not a basic purchase anymore. So it is going to happen. It is going to come back, automotive. When? I mean, my guess is as good as yours. But in the packaging sector, we are definitely back. A lot of the processors are already looking at probably expanding, then coming back to their original level.
Super. Vikram, the normal trend in master batches I've understood is that they're bought by the processors, the converters. But right, you are selling directly to the brand owners. What is the secret behind this game changer?
Well, it's a very unique ecosystem that you need to build and then capitalize on. So we help the brand owner occupy the mind space in the consumer's mind. So we need to work with them very, very closely to understand their customer, their product, and then decide that this is what we can do to help you sell your product more. So essentially, I'm a partner in his success. So I'll give you an example of some project we recently did was for water tanks. Now, water tanks is a very, very commoditized market. A water tank, plastic water tank sells by per liter. Itte rupaye per liter ki cost hai. And the customer said, how can I sell this more? How can I differentiate myself in the market? You say, okay, let's understand your customer and then try and occupy his mind space with and position your product. And this is last year, so pre-COVID times, health and hygiene was important, but not so crucial. So we decided to highlight the health and hygiene aspect, that, water storage should be in clean tanks, it should be antibacterial, antimicrobial. Then got an American company to partner up with this customer of ours, did a marketing campaign, and they have had very good success with this. So the entire story was not to sell water tank, but to sell a part of health, hygiene, and occupy the final customer's mind space. So if you can occupy that mind space, you are successful. So that's what we are not selling you a master batch. We are selling you something to occupy your customer's mind space. So when you go 2 steps, 3 steps further, the product becomes table stakes. Then you're looking at how do I increase sales of water tanks in this area, what are the associated products that we can push along with this. So we go down to that detail.
I think a brilliant strategy that you also went to the last mile to capture the customer.
Yeah, and that's what we did with the mulch films also. We are not talking to the film manufacturer, we are talking to the final farmer. Then what is your problem? What problem can I solve that you will start using this film?
That is an initiative, I think, that is probably going to give you a lot of reaps because the goodwill of the brand owner will also be with you since you partnered with them.
Yes.
Strategy. Yes.
So this century is of collaboration, not competition. So as many people you can collaborate with, better it is for you.
There is a huge focus on the safety of plastics earlier also, but now all the more in food and personal care packaging. What are the innovations that you are bringing forth that the brand owners, they consider plastic packaging safe? I've heard of course, as you mentioned, the antimicrobial solutions.
The safety aspect, if you go back to the initial story, what I told you 20 years ago, they were packing oil in which the color was leaking. So one is regulation. The other is, regulation is mother's milk for this industry, for safety aspects for this industry. If you do not have regulation, more often than not, people are bound not to follow the best practices. So I'm glad regulations have come in. There are IS standards which have come in. Now BIS standards are coming in for domestic as well as imported raw material also. So you have to be very strict on regulations. The knowledge of regulation has to be good. There's no point just waving a bunch of paper if you do not understand it. So we keep ourselves abreast with what the new regulations are all over the world. What does it say? Which of our products will be affected by it? If you're selling into a particular sector, which might be for food, pharma, automatically a red flag should kick in the laboratory that you have to be very careful while formulating this product. So training, all these things at our end, that's what we're doing. But having said that, there's a very, very big wave of negative perception against plastics, which we all need to fight together.
Yes,
that slogan of plastics don't pollute, people do, that doesn't cut it anymore. We need to move beyond that. We need to strategize at a different level now.
Couldn't agree with you more. Amit, coming to the recycling part, are you servicing the plastic recycling market also? How big is that market? And in view of increasing demand for recycled material, what growth perspective in your own organization you visualize?
The Indian market for plastics recycling is pretty big. Contrary to what the public perception is, a lot of plastic is recycled over here. India is a resource deficient country. So any resource which is available, we are very smart and efficient at converting it into something. If you see, a lot of the furniture which is made in North India is made out of recycled plastic. Furniture is made of recycled plastics, as are mats made in Maharashtra, and stories go on and on all around the country. Most of this, unfortunately, still is in a very small segment and very spread out. No big recycling units of global scale are there. So it's difficult to put a number on that market, at how big that market is. Having said that, it's a growing market. The focus of polymer recycling is coming more and more. And as bigger brands come on to this policy of being zero wastage and completely sustainable, we see a very good growth opportunity for Alok, where we already have a good line of products which help our customers convert a packaging or a bottle or any plastic product using majority recycled material to a near virgin material in their physical aspect or overall usage aspect. I see a very good future for that in India, and there is a lot of growth coming in.
Thank you. So we are ready on that parameter also. Vikram, how important are the Chinese imports for Masterbatch industry? What is your perspective on the domestic supplies if you had to eliminate China from your shopping list?
Well, you're asking me to walk into a minefield now, given the current mood in the country.
Yes. No, a lot of our, if you've watched few of the interviews, a lot of the leaders have actually stated the facts. So yeah, we would like to...
You cannot totally discount the Chinese supply chain from any industry in India, Masterbatch and plastics included. There are basic raw materials which are made in China, which are not made in India, and which are not made anywhere else in the world at a competitive price as they are made in China. So until we get to that point where these basic chemicals and basic raw materials are indigenized, you have to depend on China. And I have a contrarian view with a lot of people that if we invest so much in making these manufacturing capacities, if the Chinese are not making money, how will we make money? Why should we put our efforts in these non-profitable entities? We should look at technology. How do we upgrade the technology, get the future technology and invest in that?
Interesting. That's the first time I've heard that view.
I'll give you a very interesting number. For every iPhone that is sold, all the iPhones are made in China. China makes 3.83% of profit from every iPhone sold. What does USA make? Who invented it? We don't know. Japan makes 32%. Japan supplies the electronic technology. South Korea, who gives the touch screen technology, that they make 12%. So that's the path we should take.
Dr. Mashelkar, if you hear his interview, he actually divided how much profit everyone makes while making an iPhone.
Yeah. So there's no point building such huge capacities, investing so much, and making peanuts.
I respect that view and thank you for sharing. Very interesting. Has Make in India helped in the growth of local suppliers, you think? Will vocal for local have a real and long-term impact, considering that there are constant cost pressures on the manufacturers and cheaper imports, as you rightly said, become a very natural choice?
In long term, yes, it's very, very beneficial. We should have done this much, much earlier, but dera drustai. We have to, on the policy part, yes, support local. On industry part, you have to compete with what is being imported. If you can't compete on price, at least on the quality, you have to get to that quality level for the public to accept it. Otherwise, we're just cheating public that you can't import it, you have to use this substandard product. So it's a double-edged sword. If the government is taking a step, the industry also has to step up now.
One step each.
Yeah.
Vikram, how did you land up in South America of all places for your JV factory? You have improved our geography actually by looking at all the countries that you are supplying to.
Well, as you would have, Amit also said, we have many customers who are very old. So our expertise of the two families, besides Masterbatch, the basic expertise is in maintaining partnerships, building partnerships. So Amit and my father have been partners since 1981. Amit and myself, we are now 20 years. There's Aditya, my younger brother, who's also with us. So our expertise is in nurturing partnerships and building partnerships. So how did we land up in South America? We found a good partner. He was a customer, a very good friend, our age, and he said, why don't you guys set up with me? So we set up a joint venture with him. So that's the story. Otherwise, the first time when we told our parents that we want to set up a unit in Paraguay, they said, map khol ke dikhao, ye hai kahan pe?
That I said that you've improved everyone's geography by going into South America. Yeah. But yes, I think I've gone through the family charts, how beautifully the first generation as well as the second generation have carried forward the legacy, and I'm really proud of it. Amit, what are your expansion plans, the company's expansion plans? Do you plan to include acquisitions or offshore operations, mergers, JVs? What is in the blueprint?
Sure. I mean, thanks to our parents' good guidance, I would say the COVID situation I would take it more as an opportunity which has come, where we are in a good position right now with our overall company strength. So we are open for a lot of things, and a lot of things are in the works. No big announcement right now, or nothing right in the short pipeline. But yes, we are open and looking for opportunities like that.
So any of our viewers who would have an interest in certain kind of acquisition, they can approach you. Serious minded, right?
Absolutely. And we'll owe that to you.
Thank you. I'm going to come for what I'm going to ask for in the end. Now coming to the interesting part, Vikram, I understand that you're an enthusiast of mountain climbing and biking. What level have you taken this passion to? And what would be your aim? I understand that your daughter is also a very enthusiast in climbing.
Well, I'm trying to get both of them interested in it. But yes, I do go mountain climbing once a year. And in fact, I start the financial year by going to Nepal, to the Everest region, every year.
Yeah.
And usually it is in the month of March and April, March or April. This year, for the first time in my life, things panned out in such a way that I went in February.
Wow.
And I spent 2 weeks and came, and everyone said it is so cold, it is bitterly cold during it's peak of winter. But somehow the timing was such that we had to go in February. We came back and there was a lockdown. So I say that the Mother Mountain called me earlier this time because she didn't want to miss seeing me this year.
How beautiful. I think you have a relationship even with the mountains.
Everything, all the hardship, all the training, everything melts away. You feel very, very happy with yourself. So why I do this is that this is one activity that breaks you mentally, emotionally, and physically. And then you come down and reconstitute yourself to take on the new year ahead.
What a nice perspective to look at your passion.
Yeah.
I always try to bring my home state, Himachal, into my conversation. Which is the most beautiful strip that you've done in Himachal, either for biking or for your climbing?
I've been to Spiti Valley. If you guys haven't been, you should. I've been there when there were no roads. It was the wild mountains. And I've been there thrice now. And it's one of the most beautiful places in the world that I've seen.
Amit, I understand that you are a connoisseur of food and good wine. You also had a boutique restaurant in Delhi. Which is the best restaurant in the world that is your favorite?
Well, that's a very difficult question because I love food. So all around the world, you get very delicious food from fine dining to hole in the wall places. The recent best meal that I've had has been in a restaurant in New York called 11 Madison Park, which was rated a couple of times as the best restaurant in the world. It's a fine dining place, a very good experience overall, and a very different cuisine. And what the magic that chefs can do these days is just phenomenal. So it was a fantastic experience.
You are a foodie, but it doesn't show anywhere. That means you do exercise a lot. Which is your favorite cuisine, Amit?
I would say Japanese is my favorite cuisine. Thoroughly enjoy, and it's healthy as well, by and large, as long as it's original Japanese, not Indianized Japanese. So I thoroughly enjoy that kind of a food. But yes, it's very hard to get rid of all the pizzas and all the other cuisines, or even the delicious chole bhature that you get in Delhi. So yes, you have to work very hard at it.
And do you cook yourself? Vikram would be able to kind of stand testimony to that. Does he cook and call you over for dinner?
He calls me over very often. In fact, we are next door neighbors.
Yes. Now my most favorite question, which I was wanting to ask, the respective fathers themselves, but we'll look at another opportunity. Shri C.S. Bhaduria ji and Shri K.L. Puri ji, they have left a huge legacy for both of you to carry forward, and you've done very well on that. They must be both of them very proud. Vikram, first to you, what is Chandubhai's main policy that you have followed in business and in life?
So one of the things that early on he taught, in fact, both of us when we joined the business, was two things. That one was, he said, if you want to nurture and maintain the partnerships, make sure that all your expenses are sorted out. And if you ever think while you're making an expense, whether it is a personal or an official expense, if you have to ask yourself that question, then it's a personal expense. So that's something that we both have followed.
How very useful and practical, Vikram. What a beautiful teaching.
And secondly, he always has been telling us about ambition. He said, keep your ambition in check. You are custodians of this asset that has been passed on to you, for the people who work for it, for the families who depend upon it, and for the next generation. It is not yours to enjoy. It will give you enough for your survival and well-being, but it belongs to someone else. So always treat the business as it belongs to someone else. You are just a custodian for the time you're leading it.
Now I know where the success comes from. What you have shared. Thank you, Chandubhai. Through Vikram, we've been able to get such priceless, valuable learnings. Amit, what is the main learning that Shri Puri has given you to imbibe?
So my father has been, by and large, inculcating ethics and strong foundation in us from the very beginning. Like Vikram said, keep your ambitions in check. जो पुरानी कहावत है, पैर उतने पसारो जितनी चादर हो. So it is very nice and very beautiful to see people and imagine that company growing 2 folds, 3 folds in 2-3 years. But the faster it goes up, the faster it comes down if the foundation is not strong. So We have been inculcated with beliefs and philosophy where your people, your company, your legacy matters the most, and don't chase profit. Quality will fail. If you chase quality, profit will follow.
I feel so enriched only listening to both of you. I can imagine what kind of education you have had through your fathers and the parents. Thank you so very much. It has been such an enjoyable session. And I'm sure through this session, all our viewers will have at least minimum one learning that will help them, not only in their business, but their personal lives also. I'm looking forward to see the both of you on the other side. Till then, ciao. Thank you very much.
Likewise, Nidhi. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.